Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Kristine and Jill. And I mentioned their first name because everybody on the Facebook group knows you guys by Kristine and Jill. Um, I want to thank you for being here, first of all. You guys are the founders of AID, Alliance of Independent Dentists. It's a new organization, not so new, but new to most of us outside of Massachusetts and the New England area that their mission is representing independent dentists. I want to take a couple of minutes for you guys to kind of introduce yourself and tell me who you are. I know, Kristine, you are a pediatric dentist, and Jill, you are a successful private practice owner. Tell me a little about yourself, and then I'll have some questions to ask you guys. Go ahead, Kristine.
I'm Kristine Grazioso, Kristine Love Peace on Facebook, and I'm a pediatric dentist. I've owned my practice for 25 years and my second practice for 8 years. And in 2017, along with 7 other dentists, including Jill, I was a co-founder of what was then the Massachusetts Dentist Alliance for Quality Care. Now we renamed and rebranded as the Alliance of Independent Dentists. So we've been around about 7 years, and we formed in reaction to something that had happened with the largest dental insurer in our state, actually, and in the country. And as a way to have a voice, we wanted to have a voice and that we would be protected. So we formed this nonprofit. We had attorneys guide us. And that was the origin of the Alliance of Independent Dentists, to be the voice for us dentists when we kind of felt we had none, and that our state society was not standing up for us the way we thought we needed to be stood up for.
How about you, Jill?
Hi, I'm Jill Tanzi, also known as Jill Ann on Facebook. And I've been practicing in my own practice for 20 years, been a dentist for about 23 years. And yeah, definitely one of the founding members of the Alliance. My job at first was to hire an attorney and help raise all the money to pay him. We did a petition to the Attorney General in Massachusetts to try to stop Delta Dental from slashing our pay 30%. So, and that went on for years, but we really want to support and educate independent dentists, all dentists, that independent dentistry is the best way to practice.
Yes. I also want to mention here, this is really important for people to understand. Dr. Morris Kala and Dr. Abe Abdul, the president of the Massachusetts Dental Society, the current president of Massachusetts Dental Society. This is not the person you guys have had issues with. He's a friend and he's a good guy. They always get credit, deservedly credit, for the question two. And they did a lot of work. However, I want to bring to everyone's attention that question two would have not passed if it wasn't because of the hard work of people involved in AID. You guys were instrumental in publicizing the cause, the mission, and the result that can come out. And basically informing, I was looking for the right word, informing the American Dental Association in contributing the money that they did, which was great. We were very appreciative of that because that allowed advertising to the public. But AID was instrumental in that, and we don't talk about that a lot. And I wanted to give you guys credit and thank you, because this dental loss ratio, although it is not the end all and be all, but it's an important legislation to show our rights with the insurance companies, and you guys were instrumental in that. I thank you. Tell me about this Alliance of Independent Dentists. I know just recently you guys have decided to take this national. I am part of your group. I'm not a paid member yet. I will after this. But I want people to know what you guys stand for. What do you plan to do? And what is your mission? Kristine, we're going to go in that order. Kristine talks, and then we'll go with Jill.
No. Well, our mission is simple. It really is simple. It is to advocate and educate the dentists of the country, but also the public that we serve, all of our patients, on the values of independent dentistry. So as compared to the corporate model, and specifically also private equity backed model. And what we do is we use what has happened in medicine as our guiding force of why we don't think it is in anyone's primary interest to let the corporations take over our profession. We don't think it's great for the patients, and we don't think it's great for dentists.
Yeah, and it's not just that we don't think it's great. There's data now from medicine, pretty compelling evidence that it's terrible. And there is a healthcare economist at Harvard who's also a physician. One of his studies about 5 million patients that are private equity owned hospitals and 5 million patients that are at private owned hospitals. And the infection rate is about 25% more at private equity owned hospitals. There's more falls, there's more hospital acquired infection. It's actually pretty significant data. And we can't let this happen to dentistry. Everyone says it's different, but in some ways it's exactly the same.
Yeah, and you know my feelings about this, that, you know, we're all for this. Private equity out of doctor-patient relationship. Unfortunately, I believe private equity involvement in dentistry is a symptom of a high cost of dental education. And I call that the disease. And, you know, the DSOs, the bad PPO fee schedules, the mental health issues that we have in dentistry are all the symptoms. I also want to mention that I just recently talked to you guys, and I'm sure they're going to watch this video. Our physician colleagues have a group called Taking Medicine Back. And these are a bunch of emergency room docs, and I'm not sure if everyone knows, emergency rooms are owned by private equity, but they have sold the emergency rooms to private equity, and it's unfortunate. But I wanted to ask your opinion on this, and I know you guys feel strongly about this. There is no getting rid of private equity, right? I mean, they're going to be here.
Yeah, I actually don't think they should be involved at all. And I know they're here, but what is the litmus test for them being here? There's some states that don't allow private equity to own a medical or dental practice, but they do own it, but they say they're managing it, but they really own it because the people that work there can't sell it. So there needs to be a litmus test. Like, can I, as a dentist or a doctor that works in a private equity practice, can I fire the management team? No, I cannot. So this is, you know, skirting the law. And I think you're going to see, hopefully someday, you know, the United States government saying enough's enough. I mean, you can't hurt all these people.
Yeah, you know, I do think it's an issue. I'm not afraid of it, Bob, but I think if we don't take a stance and speak out, it can happen what happened in medicine. If you were to talk to physicians 50 years ago, they would not have predicted where we're at. And it wasn't private equity back then. It was the corporate takeover, you know, and the hospitals became their own corporations and bought up all the private practices, which that still is going on. I think I read it, 25% of physicians are independent, but it could even be less than that. But I do think that's problematic. And I think that by dentists not paying attention and saying it won't happen to us, we're not looking at what we're not learning from history. We can't just ignore it and say, not the same thing won't happen. We consider ourselves part of healthcare, and we do have to be concerned. And I know it's here to stay. I don't think the dentists who sold to private equity backed DSOs or corporations are horrible people. None of that is true. But if we don't educate the dentists who are still private about why it's in their best interest, and then honestly, this is a much broader topic. It's not only about each of us individually and how much money we can make. It's kind of a greater good issue. And that's where we stand. Let's step back and look at kind of the greater good, the future of dentistry for our patients and for dentists. And when you talk about the high cost of dental education and say that's a symptom that brings around private equity, or I don't know if you said it the other way around, I kind of don't agree with that. And the main reason is that the cost of dental education has gradually gone up, but that didn't allow all of a sudden, oh, the private equity people said, oh, I'm going to jump in because of that. Here's an opportunity. The corporate model has been around for over 30 years. I was in dental school. I graduated 31 years ago. And the cost of education wasn't as high, but there's a little bit of, sometimes we talk so much about this, but we're not including inflation and the cost, you know, everything has kind of risen, including what we make for salaries. You know, it might have outpaced itself, but in dentistry, our salaries have risen greatly compared to when we came out 30 something years ago.
Maybe I didn't describe my position there. First of all, I have a lot of friends who've sold to DSOs, and I do not judge them. You got to do what's best for you and your family. Sometimes you can't sell your practice, and that's your only choice. That we're not criticizing them. Second, when I say the disease is the high cost of dental education, it means that we are producing dentists and we are handcuffing them because of the debt they have. And when you do that, they can't be patient doing a startup. They can't be patient in a private practice to build a practice. They have to earn a paycheck that benefits the DSOs, that benefits the insurance companies, because now they can sell their terrible fee schedules. That benefits the governments and the banks and the dental school deans, which I am putting that out there, that dental school deans have a responsibility to this. That increases the mental health of these young dentists. So I know you and I disagree just a little bit on those, but the message is the same. We not only need to treat the disease, but also the symptoms are out there. We need to take care of that. So we may label it a little bit differently, but yes, we don't want private equity in healthcare. That is the main message. And even if they are in there, we need to have some limitations and what they can say, what they can do. I hate to see these regional managers come to a young dentist and say, "Oh, you're not doing enough deep cleanings. Make sure you get enough deep cleanings." I'm like, how? I mean, if the patient doesn't need it, how am I going to get enough deep cleanings?
No, but I can tell you, I worked for a DSO. I worked in private practice when I first got out of dental school, a bunch of different jobs. And then I think I was losing my health insurance or something. And I was looking around and I found a full-time job at a new DSO where two dentists had just sold. And I got to watch that practice go into the toilet, changing all the staff and having a regional manager come and talk to me about running 3 chairs. And I looked at him like he was crazy because I never really want to rush around and cut corners. And
well, I'll bring up too. So I'm married to an emergency physician, and he didn't, when he first became employed, and his hospital is a not-for-profit, so it's not a private equity backed hospital. And but they brought in all these consultants, and they rebranded. And I remember him coming home more than a decade ago and saying, they bring these consultants in and they're telling us we can only spend 15 minutes with a patient. We, we'll get bonuses if we do this or that. And he was like, I don't do any of it. If I need to spend an hour with my patient, I'm spending an hour with my patient. It's life and death in that ER. So I'm well aware of what you said, the private equity buying up ERs. I have a friend who he started his own company and then sold it to 2 different organizations. And as Jill mentioned, there is a lot of data out there about what happens when the primary concern when you're taking care of humans is money. We have to separate that out. We're not selling a product. We are taking care of our fellow humans, whether it's medicine or dentistry. And that's really, really where a lot of what we believe comes from. And I have to just say this. Jill and I are not, the president and vice president and spending all this time volunteering for this for our own personal gain. There's no personal gain here or anyone else involved. This is about really taking a stance on something that we're trying to do the best we can for the future of our profession. And again, for the patients. It's all about the patients we take care of. And by the way, every single one of us is a patient, and we all will be a dental patient. No one's happy because it's a mess.
And don't forget, especially with dentists and doctors, we hear some bad stories, but we're not hearing most of them because they are signing non-disclosure agreements. So they can't talk. And, I've heard things, behind closed doors, but, they can't talk publicly about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard all of those stories as well. People contact me personally, but they don't want to be known.
The high cost of education is definitely a problem. But what we're not realizing, if the corporate takeover of dentistry happens, every single one of the future dentists, kids who aren't in school yet, or the ones who are still in school, will never have the opportunities the 3 of us here and many people in our generation had. If they can't open a private practice and make a go of it, they're never going to have that opportunity. And then they will not have a product to sell. It's our generation of dentists that have, a dental practice to sell to, to make whatever the EBITDA, blah, blah, blah from a corporation, a DSO. They'll never have that opportunity. So in the end, it's counterintuitive that the DSOs are better for them because they have all this education. They'll never be able to make the same kind of living, have the same kind of control, have the work-life balance that we've all been able to achieve. And that is one of the things that we are fighting for. We're looking out for the future of the new dentist. So I just want to be clear on that.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you there. And I also want to, you mentioned something about non-disclosure agreements and things like that. Signing a bad contract is not illegal, right? So that's why they can force you to sign those non-disclosures. I talk about this fuzzy math that they dangle the carrots in front of your face, and you're so blinded by the bling, I call it, that you sell and you think they're paying you 1.5 to 2 times more than what your practice is worth. All these are future future earnings that they're paying you a little bit up front or holding back to make sure you still produce. Well, you guys know I've talked about this a lot, but the important thing to know is that if you're aware that illegal activity is going on within DSOs, those non-disclosure agreements go out the door. Yeah, the government whistleblowers are there.
Whistleblowers.
Yes, I mean those are not valid. If you understand that there's something illegal going on, I don't know, they are doing things they're not supposed to, unethical stuff, anti-competitive things. If you're aware of that, there are people that are listening that can throw away those non-disclosures. So but I don't know, to be honest. What I've heard is mainly dentists signing bad contracts and not educating themselves in what is happening. When you put profit before patients, something's got to give, right? I mean, if you need 3 crowns per week and you've only done 2, they're going to push you to do that third one when you're not doing it, right? And these numbers matter to these people. For me, in my office, when a patient comes in and it's a big case, but the patient is coughing a little bit, okay, we'll do it next week. I don't mind. Those are the things that differs in a private practice setting, and hopefully some DSOs are not doing that, but stories we hear. I also want to say something that you two won't, and I'm going to go talk to our organizations. There is an obligation by all of our organization, national, state, and local, to oppose this private equity interference with the dental practices. Don't beat around the bush. Don't be going to these seminars and hanging out with them in a different space that they have created for them. I am officially boycotting the Yankee Dental Association, and I have no problem saying it. Creating another space for DSOs to recruit, that's just not acceptable to me. When you're putting profit before the patients, that's the bottom line.
They want to raise money for their operations, and they're kind of selling us out. It's unfortunate, but
yeah, and I think
have a change of heart. Like, look at the American Medical Association. They're calling this out now. So ADA, listen up.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, we have no problem saying that. I had just posted all over different sites and sent it to friends. It was from 2022, but the AMA, the American Medical Association, has taken a stance against this. And I challenge the ADA to take a stance, but they won't, because they say they represent all dentists. We're not going against the dentists who work in the corporate environment. What we're saying is keep the bad actors out. Keep the bad actors out. It's not the dentists we're talking about, right?
Exactly. So cozy up to private equity. That has nowhere to go but to the bottom of the barrel. It's interesting because, as I said, I'm part of that Facebook group called Taking Medicine Back, and somebody asked about this, and someone said American Medical Association, and everybody said, is that a joke? Yes, they came out in 2022 taking a stand. Too late, right? You should have done this 25 years ago. We are where they are, right? No matter what I believe in, I could be wrong. These are my personal feelings when I say I'm not really afraid of them. But you can't, the consequences are high, right? If you do not take action now and create clear policy against private equity in dentistry, we have the roadmap. We have our physicians to look up to. They're looking for us to join them, to fight them. And I'm going to introduce you to them, and they're going to see this video. It is mind-boggling how we have so many committees and councils and this volunteer doing this and that staff is doing that, but nobody is addressing private equity.
No one was addressing the DLR for Massachusetts, right? I mean, people tried, but, ballot question, genius. Yeah. One person's paid for this to get on the ballot. How amazing was that?
Yeah. That person is Dr. Morris Kala, $3 million of his own money to get this passed. And I'm thankful again to the American Dental Association, and I'm sure he is thankful to contribute some of our money that we paid to this cause, right? And sometimes I hear that, some people didn't want to pay it because we didn't know what DLR was. I'm going to speak to you as our leaders, not to you guys, but whoever is listening. If you are part of organized dentistry and you don't know what DLR is, dental loss ratio, which is the same thing as medical loss ratio, you shouldn't be in the place of leadership. If you're only joining organized dentistry for the social life, please, I'll have a party in my house. Come to my house. Leave that for people who want to lead. I get so fired up about this when I go to these organized dentistry meetings, and I asked them, did you see this? Oh, I'm really not on Facebook. I don't do social media. Social media is the new media. You know, we have accomplished so much with Facebook. Say whatever you want to say about Mark Zuckerberg, right? But he has created a place for us to talk. How many times do you know in the history of 163 years of the ADA that you can talk to the ADA president the way we have? I give her credit. She makes her available.
Mark Zuckerberg's dad is a dentist.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I give,
there you go.
And I want to give a shout out to Dr. Linda Edgar. She's great. You know, she gives her phone number. She gives her email address to anyone. She answers questions in my group and other groups. But we need more of it. We need more of the local and state. I want to ask you guys about your experience. I'm talking too much. I'm interviewing you guys. I feel like I'm on the soapbox.
That's we all talk a lot. So we all talk a lot, and we're all passionate.
Yes, I mean, this right here. I want to also say something else. For those who don't know Kristine and Jill, they are very successful business women in the world. I know this for a fact because I looked you guys up. And they don't need to do this. I don't know why you're doing this, right? And sometimes I answer ask myself this question. We do this because we care, right? Dentistry has been good to us. You know, we have a comfortable life, and we want to make sure the next generation have it. Kristine, tell me about that. Why do you do this?
Oh boy, you didn't tell me you were asking me that, Bob. You know, I think it comes back to the passion. I'll tell you exactly what got me started on this. I've been complaining about the corporate takeover of America for a while. Like, I don't think it's good. I miss family-owned business, small independent business. It's better for all of us, right? I know we're very reliant on corporations. So I've always kind of talked about that, saw it happen in medicine. But in 2017, when the largest dental benefit company kind of pulled a fast one on us, it shocked me. It shocked me out of my complacence in my practice, where I was just constant growth, doing well, better than I ever anticipated. All of a sudden, I was like, whoa. And I started the deep dive into my practice finances. And then I was like, I got fired up and I started the Massachusetts dentist page. That was in 2017. And so going back to your social media idea, I was so against Facebook, but once I knew I could use it, I use Facebook for dental. To interact in dentistry. I learn things, I give opinions, all of that. But once we started that page, that's how this alliance grew out of that page. That's where Jill and I met, on Facebook. Now, you know, we're good friends. We do a lot of work together. But I got fired up, and then I really do love our profession. I am one of those people that have loved being a dentist. I really do. I love being a business owner. I love being a dentist. And, you know, pediatrics especially, I really, really love it. But I do want to give back to my colleagues, to the future colleagues, and really to the patients of the world. So I feel like at some point you have to take a stance. And I think, you know, once I hit my 50s, I found my voice. I guess that's a good way to say it. And I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not their flavor. People argue with me a lot. They don't agree with this whole, you know, thing. You know, I think that's why I'm doing it. I just have a lot of passion. But I also want to say, I was involved in organized dentistry for the past 25 years, whether it was the pediatric organized dentistry or my state dental society. I've been involved my whole career, sacrificed time, volunteered. I didn't do the normal thing of doing everything they want you to do to become, you know, a president. I was the president of the Mass Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, but that was, you know, 2009, long time ago. But I just care. I think that's what it comes down to, is I care. And I don't want to just think about me and my own little life all the time. I just feel like there's more. There's more we can do.
Yeah, Jill.
I think Kristine and I both care. Maybe we care too much about a lot of different issues. And Kristine may be a little bit of a hippie. But it's the same thing she said. I want to leave dentistry better than I found it. And for patients, for younger dentists, for everyone. And it's important. Oral health is important.
Yeah. And preserving the private practice in dentistry is the reason I'm doing this, right? In other words, my friend and I, Paul Goodman, argue about this and debate this, that there are some dentists who want to be just employees, right? Sure, there's always been that segment of our profession that they just want a paycheck. They don't want to own anything. But I debate the fact that 100% of dental students entering dental school want to be private practice owner. At some point in the future, they change their mind and they say, oh, maybe I don't want to be a practice owner. So the entrepreneurship of dentistry is something that I truly care about. And the center stage of that is taking care of the patients. You cannot have a successful dental practice if you are putting profit first. Patient first will build an empire. Profit first will build a DSO, which constantly looking for patients and constantly looking for dentists. And that's what I do. I want to thank you guys for being here today. I want to ask you guys, do you have anything to say at the end? I want to talk about AID. Alliance of Independent Dentists is now a national organization. We are forming it on Facebook for now, right? It is a Facebook group until we get a little bit.
People have paid to join. What our first order of business is nationally is a PR campaign for patients and dentists. It will drive people to our website where they can see a list of independent dentists, people that aren't owned by private equity. And I think that's important to be, to have that kind of disclosure. There's no law that says you have to tell anyone who owns you, but I think it would be a great law to have.
Yeah, and go ahead, Kristine.
That's what I was going to say. So again, advocate for and educate is our mission right now. Now, that wasn't our mission when we first started, but no organization should be stagnant. So for what we see important right now is this education component, and it entails not only the dentist, but the public, because we've never had a great oral health campaign by anyone. Like, I think that's a failing of organized dentistry to one, make sure the public knows that oral health is important, and then make sure the public knows that small family-owned private practice is an important way to receive your care. The time is ripe because nobody's happy with medicine, and there's a lot of talk about this. There's articles everywhere every day about the problems in healthcare. So the time is ripe for us to change it for dentistry. And
there's always this talk now about shopping local and community. And I think we play a big part in that. We live in the communities where we practice, and it's important.
And so we're not only a Facebook group. We've never only been that. We are a nonprofit. We are a nonprofit, and we have dues paying members. And frankly, we would like everyone who's on our Facebook page and all the other independent dentists to join. It's like a minimal membership fee. It's $325 a year. We pay no one except the people that help us run our website. We used to pay a lobbyist. We've paid attorneys. None of the dentists who do all this work make a penny, nothing. We make nothing. So we will use.
You don't even use it for travel. Like, we do not touch the money for ourselves at all. No meal,
we don't buy ourselves a meal without that.
No fancy hotel rooms.
Nothing. We pay for everything ourselves. And we want to use the money as it grows. What we want to use it for is this ad campaign, whether it be radio, social media. In the big world, I'd love to see it on TV, but we got to get ourselves there, right?
We've talked about this offline, and I think both you guys and I have had this thought independently. So when I told you guys, I was, oh yeah, we wanted to do this, and you think you did it, about a big sticker. This is a privately owned dental practice. Exactly.
We are doing that. We want to also, if you become a paid member, you will have a right to our logo to put on your website, to print anything you want. But yeah, we would like to do that. But the public has to appreciate that. And that's why there needs to be a campaign. Absolutely. They need to appreciate it. On my personal Facebook page, I talk about this stuff all the time because I'm trying to get people who aren't dentists to engage in this. I post the articles about private equity and healthcare, and I talk about it. So people who are my friends know this topic, and they get a little fired up. So the more we educate, if every dentist would try hard that believes in this to educate their friends, we would get further and further. And I do think social media is the way to get traction. It's the best way we have right now. So
so anyone that's already on our page, just keep referring your friends, and you'll see that the membership area of our website is going to grow with, the deals everyone's looking for. We have someone working on that. They're going to get you all sorts of deals. You can log in and see the deals. You're going to see our symposium video on there.
Right. That's right. May 3rd. Anyone who is looking for some continuing education, May 3rd in the Boston area, we have a symposium, and we put it on our Facebook page. So you can see that there, but we'd love people to come. And then next year we'll have a big educational seminar plan.
I also want to bring something up, advice time to American Dental Association, that, 80% of dentists at the moment work in a private practice setting. Why do you guys, I'm talking to ADA, right? Why do you guys want to have these ladies the credit? Why don't you take the lead in talking about private equity? Why do we have to, as our 3 dentists that are, Jill is a lot younger than myself, and Kristine looks like she's 10 years younger than me, or 15 years, but I'm ready to retire. I don't want to do this. I want to go somewhere and just do my thing. Why doesn't the ADA take the lead is beyond me. You know how much good credit and good karma they could get by even just speaking out. Take a stand.
I've asked that of our state society, and the state society says exactly what the ADA says. It's because they represent all dentists, and so they can't delineate. But you made the best point. If 80% of us are independent, shouldn't you be this is why we formed this organization, because someone has to speak solely for us. We don't speak for academic dentists. We don't speak for public health dentists. We don't speak for corporate dentists. We speak for independent dentists. We were forced to form this because no one else was doing it for us. So that's what we're trying to do. 80% of dentists, that's more than 100,000 dentists, but we don't have close to 100,000 members of our group here. Like, where are they all? But that's why we have to spread the word, right? Like, there is power in numbers, and honestly, knowledge is power. So
and the DSOs, they have the ADSO. They have another organization.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like the ADSO of the independent dentists.
There you go. That's what we are.
I don't think it's even related. Here, I'm gonna create a statement for the ADA. We represent every dentist, including the ones in the DSOs. However, we are against private equity in healthcare. I mean, what's wrong with that statement?
So easy, Bob. So easy. Maybe someone will see this and say, "Oh yeah, exactly. You're not dissing the dentist. You're dissing the private equity piece."
Exactly. Hey, I want to thank you guys for being here. You guys I'm going to put the links to your group and to your website into the caption of this. We're going to have more and more of this conversation coming up. But this is it. We are going to, Dentistry in General as a platform endorses AID. I have been waiting for this video before I officially endorse it. If you're a private practice owner, you need to join. You need to be heard. And these ladies are fighters, right? That's what we need. And they're not only successful businesswomen, but they're fighters for us. Thank you again for being here, and hopefully we can do this again.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.